This is TWiT.
Supreme Court has rejected Apple's appeal. They lost a judgment against, I'm going to call them, I don't want to get in trouble. Let's call them a non-practicing entity. VirnetX.
Some might call them a patent troll.
I would never do that, but some might. Some might. VirnetX never used the patent. They bought the patent and they sued Apple. It's been going back to 2010. And this is the giveaway, the Eastern District of Texas, accusing Apple of infringing 4 patents for VPNs and secure communication links. VirnetX said Apple infringed with its FaceTime and VPN on demand features in iPhone and iPad. Apple lost, was hit with a $440 million damage suit. They appealed, went all the way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has now rejected Apple's appeal. So I guess they're going to have to dig into that $207 billion kitty, pull out $500 million for VirnetX. Oh, well.
That's depressing.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this type of thing is still happening.
It's a jury, right? You go to Texas. The juries are very pro little guy, anti-big business, especially deep pocket big business. You throw yourself on the mercy of the jury, and you win.
And, I think it speaks, though, to the state of sort of patents in the U.S.
Oh,
and,
terrible.
I'm not a lawyer. I don't, I can't, I can't comment on it, on this specific case or anything on the merits of it. But, I did read about this. And so I guess during the litigation, Apple had asked for a tribunal from the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to actually sort of review some of the patents that were in question here. And I think the tribunal actually ruled them as invalid or said that, some of them are invalid. So Apple went back to the courts and said, well,
that's
hey, look.
By the way, that's victory. We were told when there was a patent troll going after podcasters, and we sat down, we hired counsel, and they said, well, there is a thing you can do called, I think it's an inter partes appeal, where you go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and say, would you please re-examine this patent?
Right.
And they said, here's the risk. If they re-examine it and affirm it, you're screwed. Because then the lawyer tells the jury, and not only that, but these clowns went to the Patent and Trademark Office, said, get rid of this patent. And the Patent and Trademark Office said, no, it's a good patent. You really lose then. So we decided not to do it. Fortunately, the Electronic Frontier Foundation did, and they were able to successfully overturn the patent troll's podcast patent. In this case, Apple won. As you point out, the patents were overturned, but then the Federal Circuit of Court set aside the rulings. They said,
those people at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, they don't know anything about patents. We're the courts. We know better. So, again, I think that just speaks to the state of patent litigation in the U.S.
Yeah, and Apple can afford it, but it is a scary thing.
Well, it's the precedent. Sure, Apple can afford it, but the precedent of what this means for people who can't,
right,
is really what troubles me. I mean, okay, so no one's going to cry that Apple has to pay the settlement, but I'm much more concerned about anyone else who might fall afoul of this, who can then be strong-armed into paying, to some company that doesn't even operate other than suing people for allegedly using, their patents.